Welcome to the channel. This is Geauxgreddy and welcome to the road to Gran Turismo 7. Tonight it is the final race in the championship series on Gran Turismo Sport, and we are at Alsace and we're in the group 4 and tuning is open, so stick around, check it out. All right, here we go in this final race ever on Gran Turismo Sport in the series, and this is my tuning setup. It is the AMS Dude Tune. You got that front rake to get that center of gravity nice and high, as well as the natural frequency there, soft in front, hard in the rear to get that rear end to rotate. I dropped the anti-roll bar front to 9. It was 10-10 on Dude's Tune, but I like a little softer front end. Let the back rotate a little bit, let that front stick. The compression and the rebound, well, that's so that you can transfer that weight quickly to the front and then quickly back to the rear. I changed the camber to 1. I kept the toe the same. I also kept the diff the same. Now, the reason I changed the camber to 1 is I liked a little more bite with that softer sway bar. A little more grip there. Now, looking at the transmission, Dude's Tune was a little funny there. The fan wasn't quite fanned out very nicely, so I adjusted the gears in here so that it had a little more equal spacing between the gearing. So I did make some minor adjustments to AMS Dude's Tune to kind of fit my driving style, and I felt like it worked out for me. I think in the time trial I had a 57 like 0.050 or something like that. So anyway, lobby opens up. It is second split. It is my peer group. I am pumped. So now let's get on to the qualifier. So here we are at the end of my first hot lap. Got a couple folks in front of me, Double Dog and H2O 4449. A couple guys I'm very familiar with, raced with a lot. I crossed the line with a 157.537. That puts me in pole position by about 0.3 so far, as more of the crowd keeps on coming through. But now that I've got a nice good banker lap in, I'm really going to press it here on the second lap. I'm thinking I can get down further into the low 57s. Don't quite have the slip, but I am going to see if I still can't make a little more gap there and ensure that I get that P1. Brake here just after those markers on the left-hand side start. Put it down on the apex. Try and get on the gas as early as possible. You see driving that car way out wide there. That's what I wanted to do. Now come back down to the inside. Almost touching the dirt there. Into 5th gear. Coming out the other side. Heading down towards this tight right-hander. Now the key to this right-hander is braking early. Getting on the gas really early. You can see me getting on the gas there even before the apex. Letting the car push out wide. Just maintaining as much momentum as possible. Getting this all-wheel drive car kind of pointed in the direction I want to go before I get back on the gas. So there again, just right at the tip of the apex, getting back on the gas, letting that front end dig and pull me out. Now here's a little tricky. You kind of had to ease off on the throttle and just kind of judge where you're going to come out the other side. I must have judged pretty well because it felt pretty good coming through there. Again, still fighting to try and get into that slipstream in front of me, maybe grab a few tenths, but I am purple with 0.147 seconds over, but I brake a little bit late there, probably lost a tenth of that 0.147 that I just built up. I was a little upset with myself about that. Usually I don't brake late there, and I was just like kicking myself. I was like, oh my goodness, if I lose pole because of that, I'm going to be so mad. But hey, I still have a chance here to set up a final exit. Getting on the brakes as late as possible. Lay it down on the inside here. Try and keep it towards the center of the track. You don't want to get too far left. You won't have a good exit here, the final exit. And I just missed the wall coming out of that final turn. Come across the line with a 157.373. And yes, folks, that would be good for pole position on the final race in Gran Turismo Sport. Now, let's get on to the race. So what is the strategy in this? Well, it is fuel 1. It is tire wear 1. And there's Geauxgreddy sitting on pole. You don't see it too often in an FIA race, but there it is. And that's Thierry in P2. And in P3, we have none other than JB Racer. So no real strategy of the race. It's a sprint race. Essentially, it's a 12-lap sprint. I adjusted my first gear a little bit on a high end there, so I could not have to worry about banging off the road limiter if it started me in first, and that actually worked out well for me there. Braking about halfway up the curbings, and keep an eye on the time differential there. It is very important from P1 that you somehow, some way, find a way to break the slipstream to P2. Right now, that is Thierry, New York. As you can see, there is a gaggle of cars coming after me as we head towards turn 2 and the right-hand banked turn 3. Getting on the brakes early here. The medium tires are cold, they're hard, and they can get really slidey. And luckily, I'd done quite a few practice races before this, and so it didn't take many to figure out that you better brake it just a hair bit early there while these tires are cold to make sure that you don't get too out of control or let the back end come around too much. So already looks like I'm breaking the slip. I got a 0.806 second lead coming out the corner, but boy, they have a really good right-hander there, does Thierry, as he pulls back in within the 0.750 slip stream range. So back into slip is Thierry. Now, Thierry's got a group of cars behind him that he's got to worry about. Look like they're a little bit closer to him than they are to me, as you can see right there with Thierry. As we ride along with him into the long right-hander. He goes a little bit wide right here, costing him some time, but not only does it cost him a little time to me, it allows the guy behind him to get a little bit closer, which will work out well for me here. As you get into the hard braking zone before the right-hander, Thierry gets a little bump from JV Racer, which means he can't quite exit the corner like he needs to, which is exactly what I need, because if you look at the differential there between me and Thierry is now 1.29 and going up. And now they're side by side as they head downhill into the S's, which again is beneficial to me. So them fighting as they come through here instead of just getting a single file line and trying to bump draft and catch back up to Geauxgreddy. I know, talking about myself in third person again. I apologize. But that just allows me to pull away. And if I can pull away and relax and start putting down some lap times, well, it's quite possible I can possibly run away with this race and get a win. And oh my goodness, Thierry gets too far off into the grass, loses the rear end. So rip Thierry there. My goodness, now you can look there at my time differential. It just keeps increasing because of all the racing and mistakes going on behind me. So now we're up to 2.1 seconds. I can begin to relax just a little bit, start trying to put in those just consistent quality laps where I'm not abusing my tires. Now we're up to 3 seconds here on lap number 4 and looking good again. Braking here just before that skid mark in the middle kind of ends there, just getting a third gear. Sometimes I was going third gear, sometimes I was going fourth gear. It was just kind of depending on my feeling and how much speed I was carrying. And the only way you can really get a feel for that is to just race the race a lot with tire wear and fuel on. And again, it's why I like the non-tuning races, because I tend to have more time to race the race instead of fooling with the car. And anyway, it's just the way to do it. So on lap 4 here, you can see Double Dog on the back of H2O. And gets into the bumper of H2O and then goes down the inside, which brings Geauxgreddy into the action. Geauxgreddy now gets to the inside of Devil Dog and makes the move in the Megane. So Geauxgreddy in the Megane in the middle of all of these Atenzas. Now, you could use any Group 4 car you want, but it turned out the meta car, it was either the Megane or the Atenza, depending, I guess, on your driving style. I found the Atenza to be faster personally than the Megane, so that's what I went with. Crossing the line there, got into the 159, so pretty nice. Now looking behind me, P2 through roughly P6, it is a tight race back there. These guys are just going after it for P2. And the reason I say that is because I've kind of driven off a good bit here. I got about a 3-second gap on them, so these guys are just basically racing hard to decide who's going to lead the chase pack. And man, they're really battling back here as we head down towards this very tight right-hander. H2O sends it down the inside of JV Racer, comes out the other side with a little bit of a lead, but now what turns on the inside is going to be the outside as we go into the left-hander. JV Racer pulls a little bit of the lead, and it looks like Hemiata is going to try and follow him through, and he does so. Now, Geauxgreddy going around the outside, looking like he might want to try something here on the big banked right-hander at Alsace, but I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off. But then, oh my goodness, that Megane just absolutely gripping on the outside there, and it's able to make the move around the outside. Now looking like he wants to try and make a move on JV Racer. Goes down the inside of JV Racer. JV Racer holds him off, however, going uphill here on the left-hander. It kept Geauxgreddy to the outside there. Now Hemiata looking to see if he can't make a move on Geauxgreddy as they come downhill. Of course, the Atenza with more power than the Megane, but the Megane's so quick in the corners. You see him trying to use the brakes there and get past JV Racer, but unsuccessful. Not able to do it, just misses the wall there. That could have been absolutely devastating for Geauxgreddy if he had hit that wall right there. But because he almost hit the wall, it lets Hemiata get a run on him coming out the other side. Hemiata, as well as H2O, able to get back by Geauxgreddy as they head back uphill towards turn 2. So into turn 2, heading towards turn 3. I've got the lead, and I've extended that in just the last few laps up to 6.2 seconds as they're all battling behind me. Looking back behind me as we're again P2 through P6 is where all the racing is going on. Paranova Superstar, Piranha V Superstar, whatever. I can never get his name right. Piranha V Superstar, not Paranova. He goes down the inside with a very aggressive move, shall we say. But it looks like he may have backed out of it a little bit. Maybe felt like it was a little too aggressive there. And the Night Racer there, Devil Dog, getting loose in the corner. Piranha V getting in the rear bumper there. So a lot of racing going on back behind me now. JV Racer, once he got out front, was able to kind of dip down into my lead just a little bit as we're at 6.1 seconds coming out of that right-hander, heading towards the final braking zone, but still got a pretty comfortable lead here on lap 7. Again, back behind me, JV Racer now being challenged by Hemiata as they head towards the heavy braking zone. Hemiata on the inside, gets on the brakes early. Looking behind him, JV Racer looks like he backed out of it, jumped back in line. Maybe JV Racer's thinking, you know, if I stick with Hemi, maybe we can catch Greddy here. We got 6 laps to go, a little under 6 now, really closer to 5. And I raced Hemiata in some practice races before this. And I'm telling you, Hemi, he can fly on this track. He can go. So when I saw him get in front of JV Racer, I was like, crap, I know Hemiata can move around this track pretty good, but hopefully I can hold him off here in the last 5 laps. All right, heading out of turn 1, good look at the difference in the cars as JV Racer gets a little squirrely coming out of the corner as Geauxgreddy sends it up the inside. Geauxgreddy with the run and the slipstream of H2O. However, JV Racer with more power in the Atenza, able to pull back into the lead before they head down into turn 3. So back on board with me on lap number 8. We've extended the lead to almost 7 seconds here as they're battling. My tire's not looking too bad, but I got to keep those in mind. I'm trying to brake a little early, not trying to push them too hard. But when I saw Hemi behind me, I was like, maybe I got to push on a little bit more. Back with the trailing group here, right along with Geauxgreddy. As you see, Piranha V and JV Racer side by side. JV Racer a little bit into the dirt there, gets in to Piranha V Superstar, and rip, Piranha V goes off course there. Not a purposeful act there by JV Racer. He just, they were trying to ride side by side through that banked corner, and he just got in the dirt. So that allows me to extend my lead into the 7s again as the battling just continues behind me. You can see Hemiata pulling a little bit of gap there on the rest of the field as they are really pushing to try, and now really racing for P3 as Hemi looks like he has separated himself from the others. I get a purple sector there as the car is beginning to lighten up, but I'm telling you, I'm not being easy on these tires. They're starting to show some red. I'm actually flipping, now that I've passed lap 8, I'm actually moving the brake balance a little more towards the front as I don't want to make any mistakes with this lead. I don't want the rear end to come out around on me. So that is what I'm doing. So right now I'm on brake balance 2 to the rear. I was on 3 to start the race, but I've decided I want a little more grip in the braking zone in case I make a mistake. I can just mash the brake pedal and come to a stop. One of these places right here, if you get on the brakes here too late, it can be pretty detrimental. You can go wide, you can hit that wall right there. So I wanted that brake balance at 2 in case I accidentally miss my brake mark for some reason. So looking back again here, P6, 7, 8, and 9 side by side going through the right-hander. You got Piranha V on the outside, gets pushed out wide again. Piranha V brave in that Macan going around the outside on these corners looking for moves on the outside. Maybe ill-advised, but he has made a few. So he's now on the inside heading towards the right-hander. the two Knight Racing team drivers get over the far left, but unfortunately, Knightley Sarcasm carries too much speed there, so rip Knightley as he finds the grass, and Piranha V Superstar is able to make his way back up to 6th after being ushered off there in the big banked right-hander. Riding back on with me, you can see Hemi has cut into my lead from 7 seconds down to 6.3 seconds with just a little over a lap to go. We are on the penultimate lap here, and all I've got to do is just basically race a clean last couple of laps. As you can see, I ran a 2-minute flat almost there on lap 10 on 159 a couple laps before that. So I can run a faster lap here in lap 11 and 12, but honestly, I'm kind of backing it off a little bit. I just want to make sure I don't do anything silly and waste this lead on the last race in Gran Turismo Sport in the championship series before GT7 comes out. I would really like to go out with a win, and I go narrow on turn 1, get into the dirt a little bit. I've now moved my brake bias to only one to the rear. It's like I said, I don't want to make. Then I'm like, well, maybe I should go back to 2. I can't decide. I don't want to do something that's different than what I've been doing, and it's just like I don't want to screw this up. And then I look up the time, and Miata's cut off another half second off of me. I'm like, all right, just stop fooling with your brake balance, and let's just get this lap in here. So that's what I do. I stop screwing my brake balance. I'm getting my head back in the game. You don't want to choke ever in any sport when you're up. Like you want to get focused, and you want to remind yourself. You want to picture yourself winning and finishing out, and that's what I'm doing right here. I'm just picturing myself standing on the podium as I miss my apex by about a car width. Maybe I need to picture my podium appearance less and picture me hitting the apex more. That'd probably be the better idea. But anyway, coming around through the right-hander, again, not quite on the apex, but not terrible, not like the other corner. Now here, I just one last chance into this hard braking zone with this bump in the middle that can really get you going squirrely if you don't hit it right. But I execute that one pretty darn well. Get on the apex nicely, get on the gas, do a little tiny little lift here, heading into the uphill left-hander. You can take that flat, but if you don't take it perfectly with the tire and fuel wear, you can end up in the fence. So just a few more corners left, and Greddy might finish off the championship series in Gran Turismo Sport with a win. Coming down the final straight, heading towards the finish line. Greddy crosses, and Greddy wins! Greddy wins! Folks, I cannot tell you how happy I was. I was so excited to finish this series off with a victory. An FIA-type victory at that. I was just pumped. 272 points. Obliterate my best points on the season. It's outstanding. So we look at my point totals. I'm now sitting at 520, and certainly I've finished first in Louisiana, probably in the top 20, maybe in the top 20 in the U.S. I can't help. I thank all you guys that race with me out there. We've all gotten faster. I've enjoyed so many of these races with y'all. I appreciate everyone that subscribed to the channel. I'm going to keep going with the videos. I enjoy making these. I enjoy racing with y'all. That's why I do it. I don't do it for the subscriptions. I don't do it for any money. I do it because I love Gran Turismo Sport and I love racing. So, for myself, Geauxgreddy. Y'all have a great evening.